Hi, welcome to Sunday Showers from the Source. My name is Patrice Hunt. Just kidding. Don't worry, you did not click the wrong link. This is Wedded Wednesdays. But I wanted to come on here and let you know that what you're watching right now, the episode you clicked on today, is part 2 of a 2-part series on vulnerability. And if you hadn't got a chance to watch part 1 yet, click up here. I'm pretty sure it's going to be right here. And watch part 1 first, and then come back and watch part 2. If you've already watched part 1, welcome back to part 2 on our podcast on vulnerability. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much for joining us.
What's so mean?
So that's why I say I still share with my guys, but I'm sharing something with them is secondhand because I've already talked with you about it, and if it's something that I'm struggling with, that's when I go and ask the fellas, not just anybody. I'm talking about people that I trust, that are godly men, that are married, that
are happily married.
Yeah, happily married.
So good husbands to their wives.
Yeah, so I'm going to go and seek counsel in that regard from them, just to get a different perspective. Mm-hmm. But it won't be something that I haven't brought to you already and that we're actively trying to work out.
Right.
And if we're actively trying to work it out, it's nothing for me to talk about to anyone else because I've already shared that with you.
Yeah.
So I just feel as if, respect the marriage. I think, you married that person for a reason. And if you can't talk to that person, that's, for me, to me, that's something that's fundamentally wrong or off if you can't talk. Now, again, does it, you're not talking, is that, like you say, something dealing with the past? Okay, let's talk about it. Still, let's talk about it. I can't offer anything but ear to listen.
Yeah.
And see where you're coming from, and then just try to meet you right there
where you are.
And but I think just the opportunity to do that should just be from the standpoint that you know that I love you.
Yeah.
And and I'm not whomever that was in the past.
Yeah. And but I also have to express to you that this is where it's coming from.
Yeah.
I can't expect for you to know that the reason I'm not able to communicate with you in this way, or the reason I'm not being vulnerable with you, is because of something that happened in the past. I can't just think that you're going to know that. Yeah. I have to say, well, in my past relationship, when I tried to express myself, it was not received in the right way. And because of that, it makes it harder for me to open up to you. Or when I was a child, I went through all this mess. And because of that, I feel like I always need to be strong.
Yeah.
But if I don't say that, then you won't know.
You want me to read your mind?
Exactly. See be a psychic. Be Miss Cleo or Mr. Cleo.
No.
Calling me now.
No. I just, like I say, it's a choice. Still goes back to a choice to open up, communicate, and we work on it, or a choice not to. And
it's that little weak spot that just keeps getting weaker and weaker and weaker the longer we're married.
And then it'll, give in. And then something that's minor happen, but it's a big blow up to you.
Yeah.
And I'm left
because it literally ends up being like the straw that broke the camel's back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And something that seems so minor to me, and I'm not understanding what the big blow up is. Now I'm hurt on your response or your reaction to it. So I just think, we have to communicate. We definitely have to do that. And all marriages, I think we as husbands need to listen as well as communicate what's bothering us. Because if we don't, like I said, it's just, we try to hide it.
Yeah.
And when it reveals itself, or when you accidentally let it out, you blowing up at somebody.
Yeah.
And that might be the spouse. It could be your kids, and then look at what you're showing them.
Yeah.
We're teaching them. They see everything.
Yeah.
And so whether you are teaching good habits or bad ones, whether you're dealing with things head on, or hey, I'm gonna hold off on saying something and just let it fester, and then it builds up to something more, and then, like you said, then there's an overreaction. And then as far as our kids, if that were to happen and they overreact and get in a fight or get expelled,
and then we go to them and like, how could you do that? You should have. But then what they saw was what the example that we made for them. And I think that people often miss that listening is a part of communication. When you sit and you listen to what your spouse has to say, that's just as important as when you're talking and telling your spouse how you feel. Like, listening to what they say is the same thing. But I also feel like sometimes men and women can be in a position where they are not vulnerable because they are putting on a mask to people please. So, and it doesn't even necessarily have to just be in a marriage. We can be doing that across the board. And so we're allowing our needs and our desires not to be met because we are trying to please somebody else.
Yeah.
And when we do that, it's not fair to the other person because they're not really learning who we truly are and seeing who we are. And we're not giving them the ability to love us in the way that we desire to be loved, or treat us sometimes in the way we would prefer to be treated, because all we're doing is trying to please them and do what they want to do, and not be open ourselves. Do you feel like vulnerability begets vulnerability? Like, I mean, I said I think so, because I said that once you started being more open and vulnerable, that made me feel like, okay, maybe I could be just a little more. But I am very unemotional.
It made you have the thought that you could be.
But because I think it's a difference, because it's a part of me that, I don't like to cry in front of people, but I also just am like, so. Not like how you feel, but I'm just like, in general, I'm just I think I'm very nice and I like to laugh, but also at the same time, I'm just like, when it comes to me and what I'm dealing with, I'll just be like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
Like, this what I got going on. Okay. Just move it on. This what I'm feeling. I'll just move it on. And it'll be something that I might say, like, oh, when this happened, I felt like that. And you'll be like, you ain't never tell me that. And I'll be like, oh, never thought to tell you that. It was not a big deal.
But you be carrying stress. That's when you get the knot in the neck and the shoulders and all of that. And that's because you're not opening up and you're not telling.
I mean, dang, okay.
That's just what it is. That's what it is. And you tell, oh, it's the pillows. I slept wrong. Yeah, I know you slept wrong. You did sleep wrong.
Because I went to sleep without saying what was on my mind. And it ain't, I mean, it's not even, it's not even stuff that'll have to do with our relationship.
But it'll
just be stuff with life in general. It may be something that somebody else said to me, and I'm just like trying to let it roll off my shoulder, or I feel like I let it roll off my shoulder, but maybe I didn't.
Yeah.
Or maybe I felt like I was being mistreated by somebody else, or overlooked, or whatever the case may be. Or I might be upset with the outcome of something that's happened, and instead of allowing myself to sit in a space and just like feel all the feelings, I just be like, oh, I don't like this, so I'm just gonna get up and move on.
Yeah. See, it's, for me, in the situation that we're going through currently, if I don't open up, what that will do to me. You see what it's doing to me, and I'm opening up, and how I'm being attacked in the ways that the devil is attacking. If I sit there and try to keep that in, I will become a very bitter and angry person.
Yeah.
And then a depressed person as well.
Yeah.
And now who's seeing that?
The kids.
You know, who's living with that?
Me.
And then now any little thing
is going to make you upset.
is going to make me upset.
Mm-hmm.
And then now I'm overreacting, yelling. That's not me. But I will act some kind of way
right
toward you guys, and that's not fair.
Right.
So I don't want to go down that road. I've seen what that does to families. I've seen, men do that. I've seen women do that. I don't want to go through that. I don't want to put you guys through it. I think the test that's at hand is tough enough.
Yeah.
Than to add anything else to it. So I feel as if I communicate what's going on in my head, what those fears are, and I definitely don't look at myself as, a soft man, a weak man.
No.
I don't look at, but I'm going to tell you what's bothering me.
Right.
I'm going to say what's going on because I don't want that to eat away at me.
Right.
Yeah. Stress is no joke. And, and I hear guys at the men's group, some admit that, hey, I was or I am a people pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
And to hear them talk about that and talk about it in a manner to where it's very, very negative.
It is negative because you put what you want, what you think and stuff to the back burner.
Yeah.
And then you put everybody else's thoughts, desires, and needs above your own. And I think the hardest part about that is it's like we're taught to put others first, but we shouldn't put others first to our own detriment.
Right.
And so I think that that's a fine line. And of course, everybody loves the people pleaser.
Oh, yeah, because you can take advantage of it.
Everybody loves when you say yes to everything they ask you to do. Mm-hmm. Everybody loves when you don't have boundaries. And it's because they benefit from your lack of boundaries.
Yep.
And so when that happens, it's like harder for you because now this is who you've been with everybody in your inner circle or in your life. And so to change, it makes it harder to change because now this is what they expect of you. They expect you to continue to be that person that you've always been. Yeah. And then you kind of expect that for yourself. But as you grow and mature, then you don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
But then you may feel like, oh, but I have to keep doing it. Because if I don't do it, then this person is going to be upset with me or they're going to think differently of me or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So I think that definitely people pleasing is a hard thing to get over because I think in the beginning, when you start to do it, I think you just start to do it, just kind of be nice.
Yeah.
And then people start taking your kindness for a weakness. And then instead of noticing that, you just kind of overcorrect and just like continue to do it.
Yeah.
To do what they want, to do what they like. And I feel like it's really hard to get out of the cycle of people pleasing.
Yeah.
Because the more you do it, the more you please, the more they require.
Yeah. Yeah. When you speak up and state what it is that you want or that you're not going to do this, well, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. Now something's all of a sudden wrong with you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, why are you acting like that?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, I should have been acting like this the whole time.
Well, if I would have stopped it up front,
or
communicated to you up front that wasn't cool. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Hey, I did it this time, but that's not something that I'm with.
Yeah.
Okay. now, so you have to communicate. I think that's just the biggest thing. The more we keep in, that's the less that anybody ever knows about what's going on. So to expect anything different, um, I think that's just another way or quicker way to get mad about something and get back in your feelings and then harden your heart not to open up yet again because you're not getting the response that you were expecting or that you were hoping to get, or somebody to check in on you when they knew nothing was wrong, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's why I said it's just I have to bring it up. I have to speak on it because I see just how I respond to things. And yeah, we, like you mentioned, like that test that keeps reoccurring. Living that right now.
Yeah.
Living that right now. And I could easily not say something and just be pissed off about the fact that I'm going through this again.
Yeah.
And versus communicating, sharing that testimony, and for other people that are attempting to go down that same path of, being an entrepreneur, I got something to share with you.
Yeah.
I got something to share with you. And it's not to get you to change your mind or anything like that.
It's just to get you to realize that without God, it's going to be impossible.
It's impossible.
Because and it's just like, and I've said this before, I think it was on the other podcast about manna, about like right now, I feel like God is definitely sustaining us with manna. Yeah. Like he sustained the Israelites in the wilderness, manna and quail.
Yeah.
Basically, he was giving them what they needed that day. And I was like, it would be nice to have a buffet.
A buffet of manna.
just have like so much that it's just like more than what I need. That would be so nice.
Yeah, it's always good to live in plenty.
Yeah, live in excess. Like just have enough to like go back for seconds. But right now, that's not where he has us.
That's not.
He has us with manna. But the thing about manna is we still eating.
Still eating. Still being satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
And you can say, well, I had that yesterday. But you ate.
Yeah.
But you ate.
Yeah.
You could have easily had nothing.
Yeah.
And wish you had manna. So it's, it puts you in a, vulnerable state that you open up and you're sharing these fears. That's what it is, these fears. And you're hoping that the person you're sharing it with can sympathize.
Yeah.
The way that you
would like for
them to. Even if they get it wrong, as long as they're trying.
Right.
Then you're okay with that. But to do that and to hear, oh man, I started my business, I did this, man, all you got to do is this. Now you're trying to minimize what I'm saying.
What I'm feeling and what I'm going through in my experience. Yeah.
So, and that doesn't mean, sometimes, money is not everything. However, you can't function without it.
Right.
And, and a lot of times working capital, when we're talking business, working capital is the reason why you can or can't do something. Regardless of how great the idea may be, the business plan might be, without that working capital, it's just not going to go anywhere. And because somebody had working capital and they were able to pursue something at the right time, because timing is everything, that's just not a cliche, then they were able to be successful in that manner. That doesn't make them better. That doesn't make them
they just had a different opportunity.
They just had a different opportunity. They had the resources that you did not. But to sit there and act as if, as the person in need, well, closed mouths don't get fed. If I don't say anything that I'm struggling in this area, or I need help with resources, or, I need assistance in getting in front of other people to, offer services. If I never say anything and nothing ever comes, who's to blame?
Right. You can't be mad at
I can't
somebody
be mad at
else
somebody
for not giving you an opportunity that nobody knew that you needed.
That's it.
Right.
But like I said, but at the same time, we also have to, keep our feelings in check, because when you're opening up to someone else and expecting some kind of feedback that'll be helpful, you got to know who you're talking to. You got to know your target audience in that regard, because what they said to you might have been insensitive, but they always talk that way.
Yeah.
But you didn't got in your feelings because I'm in a point where I need, and you're talking to me this kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you don't know the person and you're being introduced to them, and this person was being introduced to someone that could help, and then they say something that's off the wall that you don't agree with, now you're back in your feelings. Now you're not only mad at that person for saying it, but you're mad at me for introducing you.
Yeah.
So it's I think that it's a very thin line there. So you have to remain prayerful.
And I think that, like, what you said made me think about, like, expectations, because, like, when we become vulnerable with our spouses, to bring it back around, like, when we become vulnerable with our spouses, sometimes we sit, because I know I've been guilty of having a whole conversation with somebody in my head, because I know I'm gonna say this, and then they gonna say this, and then I'm gonna say this, and then they gonna say this, and I'm gonna say that, and then that's what and then I'll be like, oh well, I ain't gonna even waste my time because I know what they gonna say. But it also happens when we're vulnerable. It's like, okay, I'm going to bring this to Marcus, and I want him to be like, oh, babe, it's going to be okay. We're going to do this, and it's going to work out this way, and da 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 da. Or I want him to just, like, not say anything and just give me a hug, and that's it. And then when I bring it to you, I have those expectations in my mind of how I want you to react to what I'm bringing to you. But then when you react differently, then I'm already upset about a whole nother thing. Yeah. Like, yes, I was vulnerable. I brought that issue to you, but then now I'm upset with you because of your reaction did not line up with my expectations. Mm-hmm. So I think we should also, when we're going to our spouse to be vulnerable, we also, like you said, need to know the audience. Yeah. Know what our spouse is capable of, and be just like, listen, I'm bringing this to you right now, and I really just don't want you to try to fix it. I just want you to listen.
We've been talking about that in the men's group. Sometimes we just need to listen. Mm-hmm. But it's also good to ask, do you want a solution, or am I just listening? I mean, right. Is that all you need? And now that I know what game we're playing, I'm just listening. Okay, cool. I'm not trying to fix anything.
I ain't trying to think of nothing. I'm just listening.
Just because a lot of times when that happens, why are you talking? A lot of times when you're talking, I'm not listening.
I'm trying to come up with a remedy for your problem in my head, and I'm missing some stuff.
So I think, being vulnerable is, I know we're talking about it from a standpoint of marriage, but I brought the business aspect into it just to show that it could touch any and every aspect of your life.
Right.
Whether friendship, marriage, business, it doesn't matter. It can touch every part of it. And I just think as if you need to communicate what your needs are and what you're feeling, but I think you have to do that first with God. You have to open up. I mean, yes, he knows, but he wants you to come to him
and bring it to him.
Bring it to him and leave it there. Leave it.
Don't try to take it there. I'm cold. Drop it off and then come back and get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I just think that's key. Regardless of where you are in life, I think that is key. And and once he gives you peace, or once he gives you the words to be able to articulate that, then you go
to your spouse.
Yeah. But you're also praying in that manner to for him to give you that boldness and that conviction to do that,
Yeah.
and while all of that's going on, he's probably
Working on your spouse.
to be able to receive
Right.
what it is that you're going to state. So I just think all of it ties together like that.
Yeah. And I think also that your marriage can be like, if you have a lack of vulnerability in your relationship, it can make your marriage vulnerable to outside influences.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you feel like you can't go to your spouse and talk to them about what's going on, because you might be afraid of how they may react, then that may cause you to go and have those conversations elsewhere.
Yeah. And it's crazy, but it's true that, okay, you married this woman and been married for years and can't talk to her, but go over here, don't know anything about this lady.
And you tell them all your business.
Open up everything. Like, okay, well, okay, it does seem like the grass green over here. Oh, she understands. Yeah, well, you're telling her
everything. Like if you told your wife all of this stuff, she can help you or fix, be that same helpmate to you at that time too.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes it's easier for us to be, I mean, not for me, because I don't like to share with nobody. You all I got, boo. But sometimes I think it's easier for some people to be more vulnerable with people that they don't have that connection with, or people that they don't care how they see them.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, if you want me to see you as this provider, which I see you as a provider and protector, even if you are vulnerable, I still see you in that light, because that's who you've always been to me. That's who you are. It's not like because you have something to share with me, and it may, or because something touches you in a way, that doesn't negate anything else that you have always been to me. But if you feel like if a man feels like, oh, I've always been the rock in my marriage, and then now I need a rock. But I don't want to go there because I don't want to change how she sees me. So I think that sometimes will so I think that sometimes that's why somebody will be like, that's why it would be easier for somebody to go to someone else and talk, because, oh, I don't care how they see me. I want my wife to always see me as this provider. And I'm not saying it's right, because it ain't right. What I'm saying is, sometimes because you care so much about what your spouse or this person that's close to you thinks and feels about you, it makes it harder for you to.
I get it. I see people do it. I get it. But if I can go tell that person, I should be able to tell you.
You should be. You should be able to.
And that's all I'm saying. So for me, I'm not about to go over here and say anything to this person that I don't know, don't care anything about.
Right.
And I mean, quite frankly, in that scenario, that person need to watch what they say, because I don't care about them. And you say the wrong thing, that kind of thing. But no, I just feel like it's us. I mean, we chose to love one another. We chose to get married, and if I can't bring it to you, I think that's a me problem.
Yeah,
that's a me problem. I have to figure that out. Me going around and seeking counsel from godly people, that's one thing.
That's just an addition to what you've already done with me.
Yeah. That's not I don't substitute that, but to just go and open up to anybody,
right?
That's the thing. That's no different than just advice.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go ask a single guy about advice about my marriage that he's never been married into. I mean,
or somebody who's been unhappily married,
or been married 12 times and
and they ain't got nothing to say but what they did wrong or what was wrongly done to them, or whatever the case may be.
I mean, I think that's the same thing. It sounds like, oh, I wouldn't do that. Why would I go? Well, this is the same thing. Why would you go and share this with someone else? Your wife is right there, or your husband is right there. Go talk with them. But, like I said, I do understand why it happens because, men, we do the same thing. If I say this, she's going to say that. And that's going to lead to an argument. And I don't want to hear this. So I'm just not going to say anything.
Mm.
Whether you're right or wrong, whether or not she's going to say, give her the opportunity to say
To
it.
say it, right.
Give her the opportunity to say it. How about, as opposed to shutting down and walking out, think of something to, answer to that particular question. Maybe you could move it forward versus just saying, hey, I don't want to have this conversation. Well, if that's the case, if you're not ready to talk, and that's something to be said about that, if you're not ready to express, keep your mouth quiet, closed.
Yeah.
You don't have, if you're not ready, you're not ready. But I'm not saying, that's an excuse to go and then share with somebody. Oh, I'm not ready to share with my wife.
Then you shouldn't be able to share it with anybody.
Yeah, that means you're still praying about it.
Yeah.
And you're allowing God to work within you.
Yeah.
That's not a sign or, green light to go and open your mouth to somebody else that, like you said, you don't know. That means they don't care about your marriage one way or the other.
Right.
And who knows, there could be some other underlying deal there where that person wants you.
Yeah.
So, just be mindful of who you're sharing with, and keep it in house, keep it between you and God and your spouse.
Yeah, and like, cause I'll tell anybody, I was like, I feel like, within my marriage, it's me and Marcus against the world. It's like just from the beginning against our kids. Like our son asked today, Daddy, who's your favorite? And he's like, your mama. And I was like, I don't know why you think he gonna say something different when you ask me who's my favorite, your daddy. Don't think y'all suckers gonna be my favorite.
I say he's my favorite son.
Yeah, you my favorite son. She's my favorite middle daughter. She's my favorite oldest daughter. But my favorite person, this guy right here. Because it's us against the world. Because no matter what else, because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that no matter what else comes, no matter who else comes, no matter what we go through, it's going to be me and him. Whether we homeless and sleeping in a car, it's going to be me and him. Or whether we in a mansion on the top of a hill, it's going to be me and him. We ride together, we die together.
All right. Bad Boys 5.
So, but I said that to say, like, you have to have that mentality in your marriage. Like, you have to be able to just know that this is your safe space. This is the person that you can go to and say what you need to say. If something is to be said, like me, I don't take it to nobody else. I just don't take it. If I don't take it to him, then it ain't going nowhere. And so, and I think another thing that goes hand in hand with vulnerability is transparency.
Yeah.
Because you have to be transparent on your feelings. Like, you can't just come and say, I need X, Y, and Z without expressing, like, okay, this is what I need, but this is what I need from you, and this is why I need it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it makes it easier when somebody is coming to you. I feel like it would be very just hard-hearted and cold-hearted of me if you came to me and said, babe, I feel this way, I feel that way, and I just really need you to just give me a hug or shore me up or just reassure me. If I was like, man, go somewhere,
Yeah.
I don't know any wife who actually cares about or loves their husband, or any husband who actually cares about or loves their wife who will react negatively if they came to them vulnerably and with transparency about their feelings and desires, thoughts, fears, dreams, and all of that, who would come and react negatively to that.
Yeah.
So I think that that's a place that we need to make sure, because we talked about submission, we talked about leadership, and we talked about love, but the vulnerability, like, to be able to be vulnerable, allows me to go to function in a submissive nature with you. A me being able to be vulnerable with you and you being vulnerable with me opens me up to receive you as my leader, as to come behind you in a leadership position. And then my vulnerability with you fuels my love for you. Like that vulnerability, that like you telling me and showing me your true self fuels me, my love for you, because it opens me up to see who you really are.
Okay.
So
I like that.
Oh, I
I
know.
like that. Yeah.
Anything else you have to say on this subject?
No, well, yes. I don't want to end without saying this. Yesterday,
Babe.
yesterday was, I won't say names, but yesterday there was a special person's birthday.
Yes.
Very special. That person wanted to play Phase 10.
I cannot believe you doing this.
I said I would. They wanted to play Phase 10. And I won't bore you with all the details. Somebody won. And I just wanted to put that out there. So I won Phase 10 champ.
She said she was. So now we have to tell her that you actually did this.
Yeah, so.
Anyway.
But I'm not saying any names, but that's all. I was being vulnerable and sharing that I won.
She is going to talk bad about you.
Oh, man.
But so is that all?
That's it. I have nothing else to share.
Okay. So we want to thank you so much for joining us this Wednesday for Wedded Wednesdays. And we hope that this will spark a conversation between you and your loved one. And it'll create a little more intimacy with you as you open up with each other and be more vulnerable and transparent with each other. So we'll see you next Wednesday. Bye.